Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, are the Clippers proving that they're a championship team? So that's a topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also be on the lookout for our Dreamerspro Premium community that is almost done, and also be on the lookout for Dreamerspro.com that's also on the way. So anyway, let me get into this topic here. Pretty interesting one for me here. The Clippers are having a pretty great season this year. I think Tyronn Lue is one of the leading candidates for Coach of the Year. He was a great hire for the Clippers. He was one of the coaches that the Clippers really coveted, especially after letting go of Doc Rivers. He was already there he was already there as an assistant coach the year prior. He was already part of that program, so he had a first-hand seat to see what some of the things that the team did wrong last year in their playoff run, as far as making adjustments and all the other issues that they have with chemistry. So they were able to make sure that they were able to secure Tyronn Lue as a head coach. So he's doing a pretty good job with this group. I think you guys can see that with the new offensive philosophy that the team has implemented this year, which is predicated on great ball movement, player movement. Everybody's getting touches on the floor. You can see this team is shooting one of the best 3-point shooting percentages of all time. As a team, they have a lot of players on the team that are shooting well above or close to 40% from the three this season. They have great ball movement. They're one of the top free throw shooting teams in the league. But you can see that he's a coach that can relate to players, but also hold guys accountable. You can see that the team chemistry and camaraderie has really improved. You can see that, for the first time in 3 years, Kawhi Leonard is now taking on the challenge to play back-to-back, to play back-to-back games. He hasn't done that in 3 years. You're seeing that kind of develop there, and you can see that the vibe is overall it's just a completely different vibe. Even some of the assistant coaches said that in some of the film that the Los Angeles Clippers have been releasing, sort of these weekly. It's like a docu-series that they release every single week or every 2 weeks that just kind of chronicles the team's journey this year. So you see they have a different vibe there. If you look at their key stars, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, are just having some really fantastic seasons. But last night, for the third time this season, they had to play a game without their key players, and in this case their stars, without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Now this had happened before, about a week or two ago, when they started their 6-game road trip. I think it was the East Coast 6-game road trip, if I'm not mistaken. And right before that road trip was about to start, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard were taken away from the team for 2 games for COVID tracing, and they missed the first game against the Atlanta Hawks. And the second game against the Miami Heat. The Clippers were able to get the second win off the Miami Heat, and then ultimately going 4-2 on that stretch. And last night was the third time that they were going to be without Kawhi Leonard, because I think some type of groin injury that he suffered in the game prior. I forgot against the team that they played. I think it was the Timberwolves or some team. I can't remember. It's not really important, actually. So they ended up beating the Cavs last night, right? And in a pretty handily way. If I go and look at the team stats last night, let's just pull it up here. So they beat the Cavaliers 128-111. Now, I didn't watch the entire game. I watched bits and pieces, especially once I saw the game wasn't very competitive. I said, okay, there's no need for me to sit here and watch the entire game, because I was also switching back between this game and the Lakers versus the Denver Nuggets game, and they had a pretty balanced attack. Reggie Jackson scored 8, Nicholas Batum scored 3, Serge Ibaka scored 21 and got you 6 assists and 9 rebounds, so he was solid. Lou Williams scored 30 points and 10 assists coming off the bench, so he did his thing. Patrick Beverley, who's healthy now, he scored 16 points, got you 5 assists and 6 rebounds, and he's a very good rebounding point guard. Luke Kennard, showed up. He got you 12 points, 2 assists, and 4 rebounds. Marcus Morris Sr. scored 23 points and 6 rebounds. This is the game prior. I think in the second half of that game when Kawhi Leonard was playing, he hit 5 3-pointers in the second half. So he came on. Terrence Mann got you 8 points and 6 rebounds, and Ivica Zubac got 5 points and 5 rebounds, but I think he has some. I think he got into some foul trouble at different stretches of the game. The team overall is a good team. As a team, they shot over 47, close to 48% from the field overall. They shot 43% from the 3-point line, hitting 13 out of 30 3-point attempts. They shot 86% as from the free throw line as a team. You saw that they shared the ball pretty well, getting 31 assists, and they rebounded the ball pretty well with 47 rebounds. And as I said, Lou Williams led the charge, him and Serge Ibaka and these guys. Now, let's talk about the benefits of such a win? First of all, it improves the team chemistry, right? You saw during the game that Paul George was there on the sidelines because that game was in LA, so he was able to attend the game. And you saw that they were supporting each other, right? They were there for each other, cheering each other on. In this particular game, role players are going to get extended minutes given the fact that their 2 stars were out of the game, were not going to be available for the game. So they got a lot of key minutes. So they were able to improve their chemistry on the court, their flow, the way that they play together. You can see a game like this. Another benefit is how it's going to improve the confidence of these guys, right? This is the 3rd time this season that they played without their key players, their best players, and 2 out of those 3 times they've won those games, right? Got some pretty impressive wins, and I think it's good for them because it shows them that, listen, we can also contribute to this team in a real way, and we don't always have to depend on our stars to win games, and we can show that, listen, we're capable of winning games too if we're given the opportunity. I think it's going to help these guys improve their rhythm because they're getting more minutes. Guys like Terrence Mann, Reggie Jackson, and others, that are getting to play these minutes and filling the minutes that normally Kawhi Leonard and Paul George would take up. You see Lou Williams now finally getting his rhythm back, being able to score 20+ points. I think he scored 20+ points for the last 3 or 4 games. So you saw that, and it shows you just how confident and deep this Clippers team is. A lot of people had some questions about their depth after losing Montrezl Harrell to the Los Angeles Lakers, and also given the slow start that Lou Williams got off to this season. Guys, if you remember, given the fact that Montrezl Harrell was the 6th man of the year last year, averaging about 18 and 8 rebounds a game, he was a scoring machine, an energy guy. Him and Lou Williams, because Lou Williams averaged about 17 or 18 points per game last season. Him and Lou Williams, just these 2 guys, were averaging close to 40 points per game coming off the bench. They were averaging 36 points per game just between the 2 of them, and they had a very good synergy. Actually, a much better chemistry than the way Ivica Zubac and Lou Williams have. A lot of the times when Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams were playing together, you would see they were able to connect on the court very easily with a lot of their pick and rolls, lobs, and all of these different things. So the bench had a lot of scoring. So you took away 18 points per game from the bench. So some people were saying this is going to be a depleted bench. However, I didn't think that was going to be the case, given the fact that Nicholas Batum initially was supposed to be coming off the bench, but he ended up getting the starter's role, which ended up pushing Marcus Morris Sr. to the bench, a role that he gladly took because he said, listen, I don't want to mess up the chemistry of the team given the fact that they were winning games during his absence, because you guys remember, I think Marcus Morris Sr. missed the first 6 games of the season because he was injured. So the team is beginning to show that they have some depth. For them to go out there and get these wins, they were able to generate a lot of points, over 120 points without 2 of the key stars. They were missing about close to 50 points, about 50 points per game with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard out, and for them to still put up 120+ points shows you that this team has a lot of offensive firepower in their back pocket, and they were able to exhibit that last night in that win against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But they also beat, as I said, the Miami Heat before, and I think they're beginning to prove that they're a championship team, number one, because of their focus, right? It takes focus to win like this. Some teams get flustered when they lose their stars. They begin to look like, okay, what are we going to do? These guys are out, right? But these guys took on the challenge. They're like, no, listen, although our key players are out, it's time to compete. Time to show them our mental toughness, and that's exactly what they showed. They showed their togetherness. They corralled around each other, and they pull out a very good win. And I think this is going to help the team moving forward. And I think it was a great team. It was a great team win for them, and it's really showing that this Clipper team is definitely showing that they have that championship focus, because they went out there and won. Now, they haven't won the title. Not saying that they're going to win the title, but they're definitely starting to show that they're a championship team. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think that the Clippers are beginning to show that they're a championship team, or do you think that, listen, a win against the Cavs means absolutely nothing, whether Kawhi Leonard and Paul George were there or whether or not they were not there? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Again, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the next video that we have coming up on the channel. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.